Came across a video on my timeline where a guy goes on to say nobody talks about the long-term effects of living in a city that's out of alignment with you. And I can't tell you just how much. The first thing that came to my mind was locational astrology. Hi, I'm Venus Feroci. Some of you may have been following me for a couple of years, or my journey of experimenting with astrocartography, or in other words, locational astrology, where I first moved to Minnesota. And I couldn't understand how I was making so much money. If everywhere you go, there you are. Why was it when I was living in New York, I wasn't even making a fraction of what I unlocked when I was in Minnesota? And it's no different than when I was in Minnesota and making insane amount of money. And then I went to Dallas and I was making money, but very differently. But anyway, I want to show you this video and let's take a look at it.
Nobody talks about the long-term effects of living in a city that's out of alignment. The effects includes chronic survival mode, chronic burnout, autoimmune diseases, and the list goes on and on.
The first thing that came up for me were the various different lines that may keep someone in survival mode, such as Pluto, Uranus, even Neptune, and definitely Saturn. And I do have favorite lines and different combinations that can be quite beneficial. But Saturn isn't too bad. I actually do love Saturn energy, but it depends on the other lines that it's paired with. I, in particular, do not like Saturn rising lines because it's lessons around the self. But I do love Saturn midheaven because I feel like that's the energy that tends to create a very strict program around like your calling. And usually people build legacies on Saturn midheaven lines. Pluto lines in general can be quite transformative, almost like living in a place where you feel like it's always something. It's a place where you're always living a different life. And some people cannot tolerate that. Their bandwidth for it isn't really good. Like say, for example, I live on Pluto lines, but I live and make my money embracing change. I truly treat my lifestyle almost like an experiment. I'm always in the process of creating something new or building something, and that takes change. So for someone like myself, where I tend to make money from change or help people make change, being on Pluto lines, it's almost like the razzle dazzle for me. But for someone that needs practicality, where you want to be grounded, you have kids, a family, a job, like Pluto lines can be given too much. It's no different than living on Uranus lines. Uranus lines are good for entrepreneurship, where unpredictability can be quite good for you. But if you're not an entrepreneur and you're on that energy, it can kind of feel like living on Pluto lines where it's always something at random and some form of change. What's your experience with locational astrology? And for anyone that's also interested in kind of figuring out what this means for you, you know where to find me, you can book a session. But in the meantime, I'm hoping that sharing this information here can kind of help you put things in perspective, because sometimes it's not the way in which you're living your life. Sometimes it's where you are choosing to live it. So let me know, comment below.